All right, back again. Part 2 of the PMC adapter install video for a cd009 transmission to a RB. This is a RB25 Neo, but basically it could go to any RB25 350Z, but they also make ones for the 20, they make ones for the 26. So this is pretty much the other side. First video shows how to get the adapter plate bolted to the block, the flywheel situation, the automatic transmission, what is this called, torque plate or something like that. Basically everything that's on here shows how to get that all good. This one is going to be clutch assembly and hopefully mounting the transmission. The only thing that'll possibly push this video back further is the transmission bolts. So if you look here, you can see that I'm in the process of drilling and tapping these. I can see that this one is off-centered. I'm not too worried about it because the mounting bracket is slotted, so it allows for room like that. I'm gonna try to center this one up when I do it. But this would be the only reasoning for transmission not being mounted to the engine today, because this takes forever. And then on top of that, just drilling this hole took 2 out of the 3 of my batteries, and I think that one's like halfway dead now. So it is possible that this may be something done either tomorrow, Sunday, or in 2 weeks, because I'm gonna be out of town next weekend. Nevertheless, let's get to the video. So like I said, this one's for the clutch setup mainly, and then hopefully bolting the transmission up. So I have a ACT heavy duty 6-putt clutch. This is the part number. It's for cd009/350Z G35, you know, all that good stuff. This adapter plate with the PMC kit uses 350Z clutches. So you don't have to necessarily get ACT, but any 350Z clutch will work. This is the OEM one that came with the swap, or came with the trans. Technically speaking, I could bolt that up, but why would I do that for something that I'm about to be putting power through and stuff like that? So the first thing with this clutch kit that I got, comes with your alignment tool. It comes with a release bearing that you probably won't use, pilot bearing, but the pilot bearing is in there, and then we have the actual disc and clutch itself. So the first thing that you want to do after you unpack all of this stuff is you want to spray it all down with brake clean. As you can see, where is it? There's a warning on here. Here it is, wipe off excessive grease. It's just like brakes. They come with a little bit of grease on it to prevent rusting and stuff like that. You're going to use brake clean to get all that off of both of these surfaces so that your clutch isn't slipping before you start this process. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open these up, lay them out there, spray them down with brake clean, and then we're going to continue. Alright, so I went ahead and sprayed the clutch and the thing down with brake clean, both sides, wiped it down afterwards. That's why I have super ash. So it comes with this alignment tool. You just put it in here. It, you know, fits in like a glove. Take this, lines it up, pop it in there. It's very easy. There's no issues with it at all. I didn't have any issues, just to kind of show on camera. There's nothing else behind there. Literally just popped it in, and boom, there you go. And this is gonna spin to this surface. So that's why you want to make sure that there's no oil left on it. You want to leave this in until the job is done. Now the next thing is that piece. Ooh, excuse me. That piece is gonna bolt into this. So I had it set up this way so I wouldn't lose any of the clutch bolts. after I figured out where everything went. Same thing with all of the transmission mount bolts. Didn't want to lose those after I figured out where everything went. And this is just where I think it all goes. For the transmission mount bolts, I'm not 100% sure yet. I won't know until it's time to mount the actual trans to the thing. But the thing that I can say for sure is that any hex bolts, those are the ones that screw the adapter into the block. So I'm pretty much just going to be taking these off. As you can see, this is a little bit of an extensive, pretty long process. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop that on. And like I said, that one just bolts. There's a pin right here, pin right here, pin right here to line it up. I don't know if I got that on camera. 1, 2, 3 to line up that clutch. And that makes it pretty hard to not get it lined up correctly. And then once you line it up, you just bolt these down. And once everything's bolted down, then you can take the alignment tool out. There is a disclaimer right here. Transmission side, the side faces towards the transmission. That way you don't put it in wrong. This one's pretty easy. The yellow side faces out away from the engine into the trans. But, you know, you got to say that for some people. But, yeah. So now it's time to just line this up. And I'm gonna definitely need 2 hands. It has a little bit of weight to it, but not too crazy. And yeah, I'm gonna just cut back to when I have it on here before I bolt it down. I might have 1 or 2 threaded in there. There she is, lined up. So there is only one way that all of these pins fit on this adapter kit. So like if I were to try and line this hole up to this pin, it wouldn't fit. Same thing if I were to try to line it up to this pin, it wouldn't fit. So there's only one way you could do it right. Next thing is threading these in. As you can see, there's a hole for every single one of them. My suggestion, Loctite. Your decision if you want to use blue or red. I feel like at least use blue since it's a moving surface, but since this is a high horsepower, you know, I'm going for a minimum of 400, possibly 450. This is going to be spinning at damn near 300 or 400, whatever torque right next to me. So I'm going to use red and we're going to go from there. But yeah, just Loctite them, put them in, torque them down. I'll drop the torque specs as well and we'll go from there. Okay, so all of these are as close to torque down as I can get. My issue is that I think these are a 3/8 of these type of sockets, and I don't have a 3/8. The one that fit was this one, but it was slightly too small, so when I got to a certain torque, it just spun out of it and started trying to round it off. And this one is too big, and I don't want to hammer it on there. And then this one, this is a 1/4, and I think this is a 7/16, so I'm pretty sure the one for those, for these is a 3/8. What I used was the Allen key that fits in there snug. Tightened it as much as I physically could. The specs the ACT gives for these is 25 to 26 foot-pounds because they are M8 based on 10 to 125. I would just go ahead and do it to the 26, rather be safe than sorry on something like that. So yeah, once you tighten that down, just pop this thing, slide it right back out. Everything should hold into place. And the next thing is to line the transmission up and bolt it down with all of these. I'm still not sure if I'm gonna end up doing that today. I may do it Sunday. As I said in the beginning, I'm drilling and tapping this back here, and since it's on the bottom side, I don't want to bolt the transmission up and then be underneath the car or underneath the engine swap trying to drill and tap that other side. That's just a pain in the ass. So we'll see. I might do it Sunday when I recharge all my batteries and stuff, and then we'll go from there. But for now, I'm gonna leave it at this, and we'll cut to the next clip. All right, so I did what I did on the mount. I do, you know, if I want to finish that job, I gotta go back because those bolts need to be cut, the ones that's going in there, and all of my batteries ran out halfway through the cut of the final bolt. But instead of going home to recharge these and waiting 2 weeks to come back and finish this video for one bolt, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, I got all the holes drilled and tapped, so we're good to go. I'm gonna struggle to put this on that by myself. The only thing that I'll say in between that, make sure you torque all these down beforehand. Make sure that everything is good, nice, snug, fitted, all that stuff. And the only other thing is I put a little bit of grease on this spline to make it a little bit easier. I'm actually going to grease the inside of this one a little bit too, just to make it a little bit easier to get it in. But outside of that, it should just up, in, and then you just start putting in bolts. I would start with these because they're the thickest and pretty easy to tell where they go. So I'm gonna do that off camera because I don't have my tripod to record me struggling to get it, and we'll go from there. All right, don't ask me how. Took a lot of you can see I'm out of breath, but I got it on there. It took a little bit to line it up as well. Make sure that you keep it in neutral if the shifter is installed. As you can see, I only got 3 bolts in holding it up because I did run into a problem, not with the adapter, not with the positioning of the trans or anything like that, but with the starter. So this starter hits against the housing of the transmission, not the adapter, but the housing of the transmission itself. So this video will get pushed back because my batteries are completely dead, and what looks like has to be done is in this area on the inside, at least you're gonna have to cut down or grind down a little bit of a notch to fit the RB starter. It's like this area is what hits it right here. So since I don't have the ability to do that right now, and I won't be able to come back this weekend, I'm out of town next weekend, this will get pushed back 2 weeks for that. So keep that in mind. You have to notch the bell housing to fit the starter. Everything else is fine. Once I come back and notch that, I'll show where the random bolts that come with the kit go. All these big ones, they look like this. One here, one here, one here, and then there's another one that should go in there. I haven't been able to get that one to thread in just yet, so that's the only reason it's not in there now, but that's where those go. And I think the rest of them kind of fill in. Not all of these holes are going to be used. This one, for example, is blocked on the adapter, so that's why I'll kind of just show you guys what configuration the bolting up the transmission is going to be for. So when I come back, I'll pop this off again, notch the housing for the starter, put it back on, bolt everything down, and then be completely done with the cd009 conversion. Just taking a video real quick. This is the notch that I drew up for the starter clearance. That's pretty much all that needs to be done. I'm gonna try to cut it, and we're gonna see how this goes. Right, so this is taking 3 weeks, all because of DeWalt batteries taking a half a second to go from being fully charged to dead. But I finally got this thing cut to clear for the starter. This is how much I have cut off of the bell housing. It's not the best job. I just painted over it to keep it from rusting and stuff like that. Make sure to cut the top little layer and the bottom one. And this is the one that I mean for the bottom one, top, bottom. Make sure you cut both of those to fully make sure that it clears. But about that much space, and you should be good. I want it to be safe rather than sorry, so I may have cut a little bit extra, but you know, I went through 2 batteries just to get like this much off, so I wasn't trying to be conservative with my cuts. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on here, see if the starter clears, and then if it does, bolt this transmission up, and that'll be the end of this second part. In the meantime, Wastegates have been installed. I didn't make a video because it's just V-band clamps. The only hard part with this was compressing the spring by hand, and it sucked. Dump tubes have been installed. I just did those today. Same thing, V-band clamps, nothing to see here. But yeah, so I'm gonna knock this out, finish this one up, and then I'll get started on my next video, which is gonna be the rear head drain. So let's get this out the way. All right, got it on, got it bolted up. I'm not gonna do the whole bolt layout thing because I'm not 100% sure about mine. I know the major ones are in where they're supposed to be, but I got 3 bolts that I couldn't find a space for, so I'm gonna just let you guys figure that one out because I don't want to be responsible. I do know that this hole is blocked. There is nothing on the adapter for that one. Oh shit. So for these, I got one here, one here, one here, and then that 4th one, I don't know where it goes. There is one that goes in here. It kind of looks like this one, but a little bit bigger. There's another one. This one is the same as this one that goes in there, but I can't get it to thread all the way in. It may go in from the back. I have these 2 in the back, but I think they're being blocked as well. But I'm just keeping them in there. Let's see, what else? Starter clears. As you can see, that's bolted up. There's one small, kind of like medium-ish, I guess, one here. There's another medium-ish one here. There's nothing, I didn't get anything on the bottom. I couldn't get nothing to thread into that hole. Don't forget your transmission brackets. Those have 2, but those are different from this because they're actual sockets for those. And then the last one that I just finished doing is that one right there, that last Allen key one right there. The hole next to it is blocked by the transmission, so that's that. But yeah, everything is on, bolted up, it's solid, it works. Starter clears, you know, is what it is at this point. So I apologize for this getting pushed back 3 weeks, but did what I could with the batteries. But yeah, that concludes pretty much part 2 of the PMC adapter for any RB engine to cd009 trans. And yeah, like, comment, follow the build. Slowly but surely I'm gonna get there. You know, like I said, I'm gonna see if I can do the rest of the videos this weekend. If I can get the rear head drain done today, then the next step is putting the swap in the car. So hopefully I get the rear head drain done today and then put the swap in the car tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. If it doesn't happen, it gets pushed back a week. So I'll keep you guys posted. But yeah,